Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. And as you can see, the morning has developed into an absolutely glorious summer Sydney day. The cloud has blown away, there's a gentle breeze, the sun is shimmering on Circular Quay and the harbour, and it's just a glorious morning. So thank you very much for joining me on this journey. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go on a little walk and talk. I'm up here at the International Passenger Terminal, one of my favourite locations for Jim's 5am clubs, because believe it or not, on this wonderful day, there's not a person to be seen on this 200 metre long balcony, which overlooks possibly part of the greatest harbour and some of the best sights that you'll ever get to see. I've got it all to myself, but the advantage that we have is that you get to see it as well. So let's kick off. And today's book summary is entitled The Organised Mind by Daniel Levitin. The Organised Mind by Daniel Levitin. And he kicks off his book with a lovely quote, which will get us started and get us thinking. So what he proposes and what his thesis is, or his thesis, is that people who organise their time in a way that allows them to focus are not only going to get things done and more done, but they'll be less tired, less neurologically depleted, and better off for doing it. So a big, massive statement to kick off this book. And he also makes a point, and it's my observation as well, that we've never been busier. Now, in all of my years of working in corporate Australia, and in any other jobs, I just see my children, I just see my friends, my peers, everybody's just worked ragged. And gone are the times where you had support. Now, with all the introduction of technology, the accountability and responsibility on organising yourself and organising your work falls on you and you alone. In times gone by, people had secretaries, people had personal assistants, executive assistants to organise their time, organise their meeting, organise their days. But the way things are now is based on the technology that we've got available to us. We need to do all of that sort of scheduling ourselves, and by leaving it to each individual to organise and plan their day has its challenges, because depending on how strong you are, depending on how capable you are at being organised, will determine whether or not your day is effective and efficient, or just a waste of everybody's time. So in today's world, the author suggests, we are doing everything ourselves, as there is no one to delegate the tasks to, as we had in previous generations. And we also need to keep up with our busy private lives as well. So not only are we overwhelmed and extremely busy in our professional lives, we are also overwhelmed and busy in our social lives, given just the number of changes that have come about in the last decade. So we're surrounded by noise. We've got so many choices, so many things that we're invited to do, and we just need to understand it first, acknowledge it, and then work out how we're going to get through it and around it. The example, the apt and very, very powerful metaphor and example that the author uses is that the average supermarket these days, the average supermarket stocks 40,000 items, 40,000 lines and an average an average shopper only needs 150 of those in order to satisfy 80% of their needs. So there you go. So we go into the supermarket and to go grocery shopping, and we basically need to ignore 39,850 items in order to get to what we need and what we want. And the funny thing is, the things that we need and the things that we want are the things that we need and want every week. So to a certain extent, you could have just a habitual shopping list which covers 80% of your needs. So it comes as no surprise that we're overloaded. We're overloaded by choices, we're overloaded by information, and there is a need for each and every one of us to slow down and to focus on the things that matter most, and to understand that we can only do one thing at a time, one effective thing at a time. Otherwise, we're just going to be spinning our wheels and wasting not only our time, but the time of everybody around us. So the first key message from this wonderful book, The Organised Mind, suggests and tells us that our brains can only do one good thing at a time, and finds it extremely hard to handle the present overload of information that we have coming to us from every possible direction. How beautiful it is up here. The sun is just beaming down, this morning sun, and it's just absolutely glorious. Sydney at its finest, its summer finest. So the author then goes on to say that our genes haven't changed much since we were hunters and gatherers. And from those early times of our development, we have a brain that can only focus on a few inputs at a time. So the key is that we need to handle the most important thing at the precise moment in time where it's needed most. So the other thing that the author raises, which is interesting, is that we are programmed to notice two things. And those two things are changes and danger. And once again, that's a carry-on from our previous times when any particular change or any particular piece of danger was life-threatening. Whereas these days, there is nothing that is significantly life-threatening to require us to be on notice for change and danger. So the important thing to come out of this book is that attention, over-attention to any particular thing costs energy, costs a lot of energy. So the important lesson here is that we need to focus on the right things, because by focusing on too many things, focusing on the wrong things, means that we're using up valuable energy sources in the wrong spot. So the key lesson, of course, is don't be overwhelmed by choice, and a lot of those choices are false choices, by the way, and don't be overwhelmed with all the information coming your way, because a lot of it is misinformation as well. So, and to also understand that our brains consume energy to make choices and decisions. So you need to be smart. You need to limit those choices and decisions to the things which are most important and matter most. The second key point to come out of this wonderful book is that we need to organise the environment around us as best we can in order to reduce fatigue. Simplify our lives, simplify our work life where possible, simplify our social lives, our personal lives, wherever you can, minimize and simplify so that you can make the most of the energy levels that you have available to you. Our minds love simplicity. Our minds love categorizing things and putting them into boxes. And the hippocampus is the part of the brain that does all this. So just understand that the brain can work in your favor if you're able to understand how it works and what things work and what things cause it fatigue and stress. So the call to action is to try and organise our environment as best we can, because our brains, as we've mentioned before, are alerted, or are turned on, should I say, when things change or when things declare a danger to us. So if we've got order, if we try and manage the order in our brains and in our minds, then we're going to be using less energy and having that energy available for when it matters most. So the next point is an obvious one. We need to basically declutter our environment and our minds. And in order to do that and be as effective and as efficient as possible, the simple action that we need to take is to use lists, use technology to schedule things, and don't keep things in your head, because your brain is great at storing things but isn't good at retrieving things. So, and when it does retrieve things, it usually distorts them and gets them out of order, out of sequence, and out of proportionality. So we need to learn how to use lists and to prioritize and to incorporate the 4 Ds into our daily lives, in our daily task management, and that is to either drop it and forget it, do it, get on with it, delegate it, pass it on to somebody else, or defer it to do it at another time when you've got the time, energy, and inclination. The author also mentions a 2-minute rule. So if you can do something within 2 minutes, then just bloody do it. Don't leave it for another time. If it's something that can be done quickly and it's something that's going to add value to you or somebody else, and it takes 2 minutes or less, just bloody do it. And the final messages that come from this book is that we can only do one task at a time. You can only do one good thing at a time. Get it through your head and forget about the myth of multitasking. But we need to do it one thing at a time, but to do it without distraction and without interruptions. The author makes it very clear that multitasking does not even exist. And if you do try and multitask, you're going to be less effective and less efficient in the long run, and you're wiring yourself up and the people around you for immense pain and disappointment. So there you go. Another book summary knocked off, number 727 in total. I've done 61 in Greek and the balance in English, and my goal is to do 1,000 in English and 1,001 in Greek. So thank you very much for joining me on Jim's 5am Club and going through another book summary entitled The Organised Mind by Daniel Levitin. And let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great, especially on this 10 out of 10 Sydney summer day. And to all my friends, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and let's do whatever we can to stay focused and incorporate the 4 Ds into our task scheduling and task management, and to declutter our minds and environment, and do whatever we can to be as productive as we can, so that we're helping ourselves, we're helping the people around us, and we're making our lives better, not worse. So thank you, and I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, highlighting the beauties of this most magnificent city of Sydney, and hopefully putting some wind beneath our wings, empowering ourselves to get through the morning, get through the day, in order to live, learn and pass it on, and to be better versions of ourselves every single day through incremental growth and development. Take care from Jim on Jim's 5 a.m. Club. Yasas, Filakya, kisses from me, and we'll chat again. Bye for now.